Okay, so the first thing we're going to do in this part of the tutorial is we're going to clean up this part of the roof right here where this roof meets the other roof. So let me pull out View Toolbars, Large Tool Set, pull it over to the side, double click. So what I'm going to do is select this and select the Move tool and click on this face and get it going in this red axis and hold down Shift to lock it, or the green I mean, and then hover over this face to snap that face together so that they're in line with each other. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click inside this component, use the line tool to just draw and trace that. Might have to hover and hold Shift and snap it. I want it to cut, hover in this line, hold Shift, and snap it there. So that cut that. And then I'll do it for this side too. Hover on this line with the line tool, hold Shift, and then hover on this line, this face. And it's doing it to all four of them. I'll just have to move those over where they need to go after I'm done. The issue is I want to cut. For now, I think that's enough. So I want to be able to see back here, so I'll go to View, Component Edit, Hide Rest of Model. So I'll just use my eraser tool to erase this back part. And then the roof should line up, and I'll click that again. View, Component Edit, Hide Rest of Model to get it back. So I want to delete that line too. So let's see here. This isn't lining up exactly correct. But it's pretty close. We're gonna call it good for now. We'll just hide this line, then hide this line for now. We can select these and just pull them in a little bit with the Move tool, just so they're not sticking out so much in the building. Okay, so I want to pull these over to match as much as possible on that one. These, we'll probably just leave them where they're at because they don't need to line up with the roof. So, but we do need to cut these roof parts out on all four of them. So the best way I found to do that is to take this roof group, double click so that I'm inside the roof, and then draw a box. Just draw a box like a square, then use the push-pull tool. Now what I want to do is I want to turn that into a group. So triple click, right click, make group. And then I can use the scale tool, select tool, scale tool to just move that into place. So I can start cutting out these chunks of the roof that I don't want to be visible. And I'll just snap it to the edge of this element right here. There we go. And then I should, since they're all the same size, I should be able to hold down Control, move a copy over here, and then do it again. Move, hold Control, and just put a copy over here, pull it out a little, and do one more copy. Move, hold Control, move a copy. So now, if I go to View, Component Edit, Hide Rest of Model, so I just have my 4 blocks, and I'm just gonna select all of these, the roof and the 4 blocks, right click, say explode, select everything again, and I'm gonna do right click, intersect faces with selection. So now it cuts those boxes out, and all I have to do is just select it and delete them. Delete all those extra faces that I don't want. Either select them and hit delete on the keyboard, or just use the eraser tool to erase the extra lines and faces that are not necessary. So it's like a Boolean operation, I call it, but I've noticed that if I use the actual Boolean operation in SketchUp, it's buggy. They may have fixed it over the years, but this, it takes me like a few seconds to erase the extra lines, and it's never been buggy like the Boolean tools have been, so I just do intersect and then delete what I don't want, keep what I want. And then click View, Component Edit, Hide Rest of Model to show everything again. And there we have perfectly cut out spots out of the roofs. We need to add back in these faces. All we have to do is double click on the roof, View, Component Edit, Hide Rest of Model, and use the line tool to just bring these faces, draw that extra line to bring these faces back to life here. That's it. I don't think we need them on those ones. Oh, yeah, we do. It shows a little bit. So we'll bring them back over here too. Okay, that part's done. So now we got nice clean cuts in the roofs. All the elements line up the way they're supposed to. We'll save it. That's the next version here. And we will move on to the next step, which is adding some extra modeling detail. So we have these roof vents, which are pretty much simple boxes. To do that, just to keep it straight, we'll just start off by drawing a simple box on the ground. Push, pull it up. And then turn that into a component. Right click, select, right click, make component. And then we'll move it up to here to get the size correct. Move, rotate, scale, all that good stuff. Just size it properly. And then just do an offset. push-pull, eraser the stuff we don't want. That should be good. It looks like it needs to come down a little bit here in the top, like that. A little bit more. Okay. Now we can see on this one where all those are placed at. But it's kind of hard to line it up. So what we can do is we can start just using the eyedropper tool. If we open up our materials window, if you don't have it, just go Window, Manage Trays, click on your default tray and add the materials. Okay, and then double click on the roof group and then click on the eyedropper this image here, and just click it over onto this surface. And we'll do the same thing, use eyedropper, we'll grab this image, put it over here, so we can see where all those roof vents are supposed to go. And then just move it over. Okay, and then I'll just use the move tool, hold down Control and move a copy, and just keep doing that. But for this, I want to do an even array from here to here. Actually, this texture image isn't aligned correctly. Really, this should be over here. I don't know why it's not aligned properly. That should be centered. So really, this should be over here. Oh well. I think if I just move this image over a little bit, double click on the roof, and then go back to the eyedropper. There, that's better. Still not correct. That's better. So for an array, to get all these ridge vents to be evenly spaced, what I'll do is I'll use the select tool, select that one, use the move tool, click once, hold Control, hold Shift to move it straight over, and then click, and then do /8 enter. So what that does is that takes the space given between the first copy and the second copy, and it divides it into 8 equal sections. So it's a copy array so that they're all evenly spaced. Now I'll just save it, because sometimes this next one crashes, but never know. So now I just want to copy all of those over to the other side. So I'm going to select all of them, see if this will work. Just hold Shift, select, and then click on Rotate, and then hover over the ground, hold Shift to lock it to that axis. Oh, it's not working. Let me see, I'll hover over this ridge line, click once, drag up to make it turn blue, then hover on this line, hold Control to do a copy, and then copy 180 degrees, And then there, we've got them all copied. And then I just move them into place. Should be even with the other ones. This should match this one. And then we need one more over here. Enter. Move, hold shift, and then hover. This looks like it needs to move up a little. Okay, so we got our ridge or our roof vent models done. Good enough. Even though the drawings don't all line up perfectly. That's something we knew about already. It's okay. It's very close. It looks like if I look at this one, there should be another vent over here as well. So I'll use the rotate tool, click, hold control, 180. There we go. Okay. Now we're good. Save it. Okay. Now we can add those light models. I'm not gonna model a light because I already have one from another project, so I'm just gonna use this one and copy it around. First, I'll eyedropper the materials window, use the eyedropper, and then eyedropper these walls onto here, so I can see those images on the walls and see where the lights go and the windows go and everything. That's just stone. These are, yeah, it's a little bit messed up. Oh, it's the wrong image. That's why. There we go. Okay, so then I need to do these ones too, just so I can see where these lights are supposed to go. Okay. Yeah, looks good. Okay, where's the light? So I can cut and paste this inside this component, and then it'll populate it onto all 4 components. Just move it into place. Copy, because there's a few on the outside of the wall too. Rotate it 90 degrees. And then move it to snap onto the wall here with the shift key. I'm going to snap the height so that all these heights line up, and then move it over to line up with the image. Then I could snap it onto the corner of the wall here, click Control to move a copy, and then just move it over and snap it onto this wall. Just keep copying it around the building wherever it needs one. There's a couple here. Rotate, move, move, rotate, scale, move, rotate, scale. Okay. Oh, we missed one right there. Almost snuck by us. Not so fast. And these don't line up, so I think it's actually supposed to be closer to the edge. Let's look at our other. Yeah, this one's pretty close to the edge, so I think that one looks good. The CAD's a little bit off today. It's okay. Okay, so we got lights, camera, action. The only thing left to model are the windows and the doors, as far as I can tell. We'll start with the windows. Let's save it first. Okay, so to draw the first window, we will just we'll trace it right onto here. And we got a double click on the wall, so we're actually cutting out this window. We want it to be cut out, especially this first one. And then we can use the offset tool to make it more even here. Go into X-ray mode so we can see our lines better. View, component edit, hide rest of model. Pull down this line a little with the move, select and move tool. Pull down this line. Okay. Then we'll offset this by 2 inches. So click on the offset tool, hold, click and hold, type 2, enter, and that will give us our 2-inch mullion, they call it. Then we just use our push-pull tool and just push-pull this glass in, and then pull this mullion in. Just get it to where we like it. That's probably, we want to pull this out, not too much. I'd say no more than 1 inch. In real life, it probably would be only out 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. But just to exaggerate it a little bit for the purposes of the render, you can exaggerate it a little if they're not using these to build the construction of the building. I'm not sure what the final detail will end up looking like, but so let's get out of X-ray mode. So there's our window, but we need some materials, so let's go to the materials window, click on home, see what we got. So let's just use the default white material. If they want to change, we'll make the mullions a different color later when they let us know what color they want it. For now, we'll just leave it default. And then let's get a glass. Let's do a color and just get a random color here. Okay, so I do want to cut this all the way through the building. I don't like to just leave the windows laying on the surface of the building, because for the render you get some better reflectivity and refraction and whatever rendering program you're using if you actually cut it all the way through. So I'll draw this extra square back behind the window. Just use the line tool. To extend the outsides of the window all the way through. It's going to create some extra geometry. Just delete anything that you don't want. It's a little tricky because you're kind of modeling inside this wall, but it's a pretty big wall. Now we can just select this face and click delete. So that's our glass. I like to add the glass material to both sides so that it shows through really clear. So you get the clear glass going all the way through. And then I like to make this window a little more realistic. So what I'm going to do is, before I do anything else, I'm going to select the window. This may be different than other people will do, but I found long term this works better. So I'm actually going to select all that geometry, click on it, hold control, and pull out a copy. And this is going to be my actual window. I'm going to work on it separately. And just use the eraser tool to just erase all of this inside, all this geometry, because all I really need in the building is the cutout, because my actual window is over here. I literally just need a hole in the wall, because when I copy the window over, I want to copy those extra lines that will cut out the windows as I go. But then this is going to be a component, a separate component. So what I want to do now is I don't need these lines, are just unnecessary right now. You'll never see those, they'll be inside the building. But what I do want is to make this mullion bigger. So the mullion starts right here, and I can just use the push-pull tool and hold control to pull a mullion all the way through a separate piece. And it reversed this one face, but I can right click on it and reverse it back. So that's correct, that's what I want. Then so that looks good. The only thing left to do actually, I don't think I want to cut it out this big, because that's where the brick goes. I should scale this down to just the size of the mullion, because when it comes through to the inside, there's not going to be a brick around it. There might be trim, but we don't need all that brick stuff. So I'll just finish the model. This is the part that will be inside the wall. And then I need to reverse these faces because you won't see this will be inside, this is the outside. Okay, I think that's what I want. So now I just want to add a brick texture to this, but you have bricks going this way, and up here they're going the other direction, so I've got to draw a line to separate the texture direction right there. The direction of the brick. It's going to be the same brick material, but I'm going to rotate the texture 90 degrees. So I've got the materials already in my scene. Should be this one right here. So I'll just right click on it, texture, position, and get this where it's supposed to be. Position it there. Then I'll hit enter, right click on this one, texture, position, rotate it 90 degrees. That looks good. And now I can just eyedropper that material window, eyedropper this over to here. And same thing on the inside and outside faces. And then eyedropper this underneath here and on the sides and the top. There we go. The window model is done. You won't ever see that part. Okay, let's select all of that, right click, make component. Okay, so now I can actually select these 4 lines and scale them smaller on the inside wall to there. That's all it's gonna come through on the window. Okay, now I'll use the move tool, grab the corner, hold shift, bring it inside, and there we go. Now, so this is the component, and if I copy it over, there won't be any hole cut out, but if I select around the window with the selection tool, make sure I don't select the floor, now it's selected not only the component, but all the outlines that cut out the window out of the wall. So if I use the move tool now, so select all the way around it, move tool, hold down control, hold shift to make it straight, and I pull it over here. At first, when I click, you won't see that it cut out a hole, but if I click on the select tool, I can just hit delete and delete these 2 faces. Oh, this one I have to actually draw a little line to, because it didn't cut it out automatically. It brought over all 4 lines on the inside, but I had to just draw one, just snap it really quick to make that cut out. Sometimes that happens on a big face like that. When you're just cutting out a small hole, you just gotta draw a little piece of it. That's it, and then we just gotta do that to all the windows. I'm just gonna pause it because you don't need to watch me copy it 20 times. I am gonna show you a couple things. Now, as I copy this wall is a different area, but like I did with the light earlier, I can click on the move tool, and as long as these walls are all nice and even, because we use the follow me tool to create the walls, I know that, I can hover over the line on the bottom here, hold down control to make a duplicate, click, grab this component with all the outside lines that cut out the hole, and then I can just hover over the line over on this side of the wall, and it should do the exact same thing that it did earlier. So now I can delete all these faces with the select tool and just hit delete. These, I'll have to just draw one line, and then it will create the face. Select delete, 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 delete. There. Now, the other one's a little tricky is when you turn the corner to come from here over to here, so I'll show you that one too. So you just select all around this window. So you got the component with all the lines that cut the window out, outside and inside, which even if you're not doing interior renderings, it looks nicer when you have a cutout and you can see a little bit through the glass, and then you could put lights inside the building and have some light shining through and have a lot better effects than just having a piece of glass sitting on the side of your building and nothing behind it. And then if you do decide, or your client says, yeah, I do want interior renderings. Yeah, I do, I guess, yeah. And then you're like totally ready to just start putting furniture in there, putting some trim and some interior walls, and then you can do interior. You don't have to worry about, oh, now I just got these pieces of glass sitting on the side that have nothing, really no walls on the inside or inside of the windows. It's all just messy. But now it doesn't take any longer, not much, a few extra seconds here and there. And then later on, I think it does nicer interior or exterior renderings, and then you're ready for the interior later. So I don't do that just sitting on the outside anymore. I always do it this way now. So this, I'll select everything, hover over here, hit Control, copy, pull it out over here, rotate it 90 degrees. And then I'll use the move tool to grab this corner and just pull it in, and then move it over, and that's it. Should work just like the other ones. Okay, I'll hit pause real quick. Okay, so I've got the windows, the square windows are copied everywhere where they need to be now. Now we have to make this window that has a curve on the top. So I'm going to start by double clicking on this group and copying a window over with the move tool, hold Control, just to get a start on it, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel all over again. And then what I'm going to do is explode it, and then select these lines and then move them over to line up over here. Use the scale tool. Actually, I want to deselect that. At least deselect that face, just to get, ooh, I don't want to scale. Let me delete this first. I just want to pull this edge over to be bigger. There we go. Same thing with this side. And then right click on this face, texture, reposition this texture. There we go. So now we have to turn this into a curve. So for that, I'm going to use the push-pull, and I'm just going to get rid of this. I'm going to push it into the wall, use the eraser tool, and just start over on this top part. So first I'll draw an arc, and one thing is when you draw an arc, by default it has 12 faces, 12 facets or sides, but I want more, like almost twice that much, so I'm gonna do like 23. So when you click on the arc tool, you click, type in how many faces you want on the side of your arc, so I'll type 23, enter. So now when I draw this arc, instead of 12 facets, it's going to have 23. That's how many I think I should have for this to make it look good. And then I'll use the push-pull tool, and we'll go to X-ray mode, make the tracing a little bit easier. Pull it into this mullion area. Then I'm going to offset that by 2 inches again, just like we did earlier. Use the line tool to extend this line out to there. Then eraser this line out of there. Then actually I need to pull this line, draw a line going up. So I need to eraser that line. Let's get out of X-ray mode here. It's a little hard to see what we're doing. So this line needs to extend up, and as I'm going up, I'm going to hold shift and then hover over this line so that it creates a nice smooth angle between that line and this line. Do the same thing over here. Click on the corner, hover on this line axis, hold shift, hover on this other one, and it does a nice offset. And that's where we want our mullion to be, so we can erase that line and that line. Then use push-pull tool. Oops. What I need to do is copy that face to the inside of the building. So first of all, I'm just going to pull this. I'm going to pull this down to get rid of that mullion. That's not in the correct place right now. So I'm just going to select this face, click the move tool, and copy it. Hold Control, move to get it over here. Now I can use the push-pull tool to pull it in. Still need to copy this one to the inside. I'm going to copy the line though. I'm going to double click and then hold Control Shift click. So I'm just copying these lines to the inside. Yeah, and then push pull this back to there. And now we have a nice mullion, and we just got to erase the lines we don't need and add the lines we do need. The only line we really need to add is like one right here to make that glass go up, and then erase that line there. And now this isn't really smooth, but if I use, there's a trick to smooth out this curve line here. Since this is a curve, I can't erase it because then it'll delete those two faces that are connected to the curve. So if I hold down Control while I'm erasing the line, it smooths it and it makes it a soft line, so it's not visible and the light just curves around like it's supposed to. So it's a trick. You just, instead of erasing, you hold Control, erase to smooth lines. You want nice hard edges on the corners, but on the curves you want it to be soft. because there's actually a whole bunch of lines. There's 23 lines in there. If I do view, show hidden geometry, you'll see all the lines. They look like dotted lines, but they're all smooth. View, show hidden geometry. So we want curves to look smooth, but it's all an illusion. It's all smoke and mirrors and a whole bunch of triangles going everywhere to get it to look like what you want it to look like. So we're getting close. We've got the outside done, so we mostly just copied it. And we got the top of the window mullion and the glass is done. We just have to add these bricks and then this window will be done. So let's save our progress. So to start, we need two more curves in here. We've got one curve right there, so we're going to use the offset tool and just offset that curve twice. Once, twice. And then let's go to X-ray mode to finish out these lines. That's pretty close to what we want to see. We'll extend that line up. That's correct. It's almost perfect. You don't want it to be too perfect because then it doesn't look real, because nothing real is perfect. So it's got to look a little bit off, right? That's my excuse anyway, why it's not exactly perfect. Okay. Now I'm gonna push-pull those faces out to create that little bit of depth that may or may not be there in real life, but it probably will be a little bit, maybe only a 1/4 inch, but we're exaggerating it a little bit. And if the clients say, hey, that's not supposed to stick out that much, it'll cost too much to do that, then okay, we'll push it in a little bit. But it kind of gives it a little nice effect, a little bit of shadow effect when you render it. And we don't really need, oh, what's that? I don't know what that must have came over from something else. We don't really need that. It should be just, for right now, it should just be white default. Oh, that's part. I don't think we want that. We want to erase that, don't we? Whatever. We'll leave it for now. Okay. Yeah, okay, yeah, so it cuts out that little piece, but then we haven't cut this out yet. It's just part of the wall right now. I get it, kinda. I kinda get it. Okay. So now the only thing left to do is the most difficult thing in this whole project, is to make these bricks look like they're actually curving, which is difficult to do in real life, and it's difficult to do in a model. One thing we can do is, since this these curves, I kind of counted them out, so I did it 23 for a reason, because I thought that spacing, if I just draw lines in between where these 23 segments of these curves are, to me that seemed like it would be about the same size as these bricks. So that number 23 wasn't just a random number. I actually looked at the texture and counted how many I think it should have. So I tricked you if you thought it was all just randomness. I didn't really trick you. Probably weren't even thinking about that yet. But I've done this a few times in my life, so I was thinking about, wow, it's gonna be hard. A lot of texturing and stuff, you know. So I'm just drawing these lines in, snap to each of these facets of these curves so that I can see where the textures of the bricks need to go, because the texture of the CAD is messy and that's not what I want right now. And my bricks may be a little bit bigger. I mean, they actually look, who knows, these, to me, these look too small. These don't look like normal sized bricks. So I'm kind of doing what I think is best, and if they tell us to change it later, then we'll change it later. Oh well. Okay, so for now, I just want to get this material to be just default, because so I can see the lines more clearly and see what I'm working with, and get that texture on there a little better as we go here. There's a couple tricks I learned over the years of how to do this that it used to really kick my butt trying to make something, a curved window brick pattern like this. But believe it or not, this won't be too difficult, because that we used a nice arc with the exact same size segments, and then we used the offset tool. That's going to work really to our advantage, because all we need to do is texture just two of these bricks, like eyedropper that, and then we need to position this texture properly twice. And once we do that, then we just copy that face, those two faces, and copy rotate. We can turn it into like a component, you know what I mean? I think you're catching on. We have to make it the right size. Ooh, man, it's kind of big. And maybe 23 wasn't the right amount. Maybe it should have been 30. I think it looks pretty good though. We'll see what people say later. So we want to resize this texture onto the face, and this is all going to be copied, so it's kind of like a tiled texture, but in a curve. So it's kind of complicated, but I think we can get through this. If we put our heads down, we dive into the wind, we should be able to push through this storm. Oops, kind of screwed that up. Okay, I think that's good enough. So I got enough that I like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift click these two faces, right click, make component. So I'm going to make that actually into a component. Then I'm going to do something that you're going to think is weird, but I'm going to delete all these faces because they're just in our way now. Then all we have to do is just that was bugging me a little bit, sorry. is just copy and rotate this component. Copy, rotate, copy, rotate. And we should, since the curve is contiguous and tangential, whatever you call it. Yeah, something like that. It should be, I should be able to copy as many as I want and not just have to do one at a time. It's nice when a plan comes together. Now watch this. I can do half of the curve all at once. And then the computer crashes. No, please don't crash when it looks so nice. Okay. It's not the Mona Lisa, but I think it looks pretty good. Let's save it before it crashes. I mean, save it because it's a good idea to save. For some reason, SketchUp used to crash a lot when I did copy rotate. For some reason, almost 50% of the time, I'd say 40 to 45% of the time, whenever I did copy rotate something, it would crash. So now, whenever I copy and rotate something, I get scared. I have PTSD from it. Let's reduce the size of this texture. One really cool thing about now that all these are components, if I mess with the texture, all of them will change. It's all part of the master plan. It's all part of the destiny. It's our destiny. There, I think I like that. Now, I really want to just hide these lines. So to hide lines, you can use the eraser tool and you hold down Shift and you can just hide these lines. It's not softening. Hold Control, hold with the eraser tool softens edges. Shift hold with eraser tool hides lines. And then really, I just want to delete these extra lines that I don't need anymore. They're just in the way. They're just getting in our way, giving us illusions. Now it looks better. Except we need a little more texture. Where did I go wrong? Where did I go wrong? Okay. I like that. Right there. Now, we still haven't turned that into a component. It's just sitting on the wall. Like, these are components, but It's just sitting on the wall. We need to do what we did earlier. Let's save it. So select all around it with all these lines. Make sure we're not selecting anything else behind it. And let's pull out a hold control, move a copy. That's everything we want. Oh, we don't actually need like those. Doesn't do anything for us right now. But that's the whole window right there. So we'll just select it all, right click, make component. That's our actual curved top window. Now we just gotta delete all of this. I'm gonna view, show hidden geometry, and delete everything inside of this wall. Oops. But not the wall itself. And I want the cutout to still be there. That's important when I copy it, that the cutout is still there. And I can get rid of this because it's part of the window now. Yeah, just like that. Okay, so we've got the cutout and we've got the actual component now. Now we'll move it back, grab that corner, drag it back, hold shift move back to where it's supposed to go, snap it to the wall, view, show hidden geometry. Now we've got all the lines for the cutout and the actual component itself. So let's try to select it and then move, control move a copy over here, rotate 90 degrees, move, pull the corner. Ooh, okay. Gotta line it up a little better first. Okay, something close to that. Doesn't have to be perfect, just I don't want it to go into the wrong wall. Then it will get stuck. Trust me, if you don't believe me, it will. It'll get stuck. If you move an object into the one wall and you try to move it to a different wall, your model will get ruined. Trust me, if you haven't experienced it, it's not fun. Okay, I'm gonna pause it because you don't need to see me keep copying that thing all around. Okay, so I copied that window around everywhere where it needs to be. So now we have two more things to model. They're both doors. So we have the side doors and the front doors. So let's do these side doors first. So the first thing we're going to do is copy over a window because it has the same treatment as the window. It just goes all the way down for the floor. So start by copying this part over, and then we'll right click, explode it, and then pull, just select those faces, pull them over to the side. Then we'll select the top faces, pull them down, and let's delete these faces first. We don't need this glass, so let's delete that. Just delete anything we don't need, just to keep it out of our way. So it's getting closer. We need to cut out all this part down here. So like we did with the roof, we can just draw a box all the way around this area and then do intersect with selection. Just draw this box that goes all the way through. So actually first what I'll do is I'm going to delete everything except this one face, and I'm just going to make edit, make group, double click, and then use the push pull tool to make it a bigger box. So view component, hide rest of model, so that I can just make this box bigger and cut it out, cut out this whole thing, this whole bottom half, and leave the top half because the top half is correct. Okay, here we go. Let's do view, component edit, hide rest of model. Select all this area, right click, explode, select this area again, right click, intersect faces with selection. Now we just start using our eraser tool to delete all the things we don't want. I think I might have messed up a little bit because that's the brick area, so I want this inside line. Just delete these other ones. Delete. And just use the eraser tool, just delete all the extra stuff we don't need anymore. And then use the line tool to draw back the things that we do want. This is a little messy here. It's okay, we just gotta keep drawing lines until it all makes sense. We don't really need these lines. Oops, I don't want to get rid of all that stuff. I don't want to lose my texture. I'll just use the eyedropper to make those come down onto this face, these faces here. Oops, too much. Too much, too much. Now, one more line here. Okay. Ooh, we'll just leave that for now. Okay. What I'm going to do is I've got some doors from a different model. I'm not going to model the doors again. I'm just going to bring them in from a different model, stick them in there. This already has the outside part, so I actually can get rid of this. This inside here, I don't need that. Right click, reverse face. There we go. Oops, no, that wasn't right. Oh, it's missing it. Just draw a line here. There. So if I just move this into place, we'll just fit it in here. Just squish it in place there. Just a generic door, basically. So now what we have to do is the same thing we did before. Actually, I should paste this in the inside here so that we can do the same thing we did with the windows. When we copy this door over here, it should copy all the extra lines we need to make that cutout, that nice clean cutout. So let's save the model and try to copy the door, see if it works. Okay, select everything around the door, including the door, and then move, hover over this line, hold Control, move a copy over here. Now, in theory, if we erase all these lines, the door should appear. It worked! Yay! Oh, it worked so good. Okay. I'll have to copy those two doors over there. Okay, I copied those doors around where they needed to go. Now we just need to put this door inside this component here. Copy and paste. And snap it in here. And make the size match the drawing. Now we want to just delete all this extra stuff with our eraser tool, because all that stuff is modeled onto the door component. So delete extra stuff. Put that on the to-do list. Hold Control, eraser, soften edge of the curve. Hold Control, eraser, soften edge. Push this back in. Pull it out 1 inch. Oops. Don't need the help desk right now. Okay. There we go. Alright. Alright. That is it. The model is done. We just gotta click the textures onto the building and then it's done. Let's save it and click our textures. That's their final little step. Okay, so here we go. Materials. So here's our stone underneath. Then we got our stone ledge, or smooth stone ledge. We also need to add it in this little piece in the windows right there. On both types of windows. There, looks good. Just click, click, and apply it. To the faces. Next is the regular brick. That'll go around the middle part. And then next we have the soldier brick up here. Let's pull that texture down into place. And then eyedropper that so that we can get that same pattern to wrap around the building so that the bricks aren't off in the wrong. Ooh, that was weird. I'll re-eyedropper it. Sometimes it loses its eyedropperiness. Oh, just like it did there. You gotta re-eyedropper. It only lasts for so long. And then it gets tired. You gotta give it a pep talk. Okay, let's add the stone onto this one. There we go. Let's add the roof shingles. Ooh, these roof shingles are too thick here. I have to reduce that. Or maybe that's supposed to be, oh yeah, that's supposed to be white. So I kind of messed that one up a little bit. Let me fix that. So what it's supposed to be is if we just pull this down a little bit, copy those lines down, no more than an inch, you know, like somewhere in between a ½ inch and an inch, just to give the shingles the look like they have a little bit of depth, like they're actually, I'm exaggerating it, but you know, they might only be a ½ inch in real life, or even less than a ½ inch. But I just, you know, it gives it kind of that feel of there's actually something sitting on top of your roof. It's not just a texture, because in real life, you know, it might not it might only be that thick in real life, but I don't want to worry about it too much. I just want to give it a little bit of depth. And then we'll add the shingle texture to this top roof. And I think that's done. This model is totally modeled and textured. I think so. Unless I'm missing something. I'll have to check it. See if I missed something that could give it a little bit more definition, make it look better. Might be okay. I don't know. Hover, get that snap, hold shift, hover over this line, make it straight even with the other one. Line, click, hover, hold shift, hover. Should turn like a pink color, pink purple something, when it snaps to the parallel direction as the edge above it, the different edge that you're trying to copy the direction. Okay, how's that look? I do kind of want to hide these lines in here. Shift erase to hide that line, and then hide these lines. Just because there really wouldn't be a line there. I mean, it's not going to show up in the rendering, but it bugs me a little bit. There. Yeah. I wonder why it's not lining up. Oops, I don't know what just happened. Try to get this lined up better. It's close. There we go. That looks... Oh! That looks good. Wow. Why am I acting so surprised? Let's save it, since it actually looks good. In case we mess it up, you can always go back to a previous version. Now let's try to line up this side. Oops. Oh yeah, that looks good. Okay. I don't like having that building showing through the doorway. That will mess up the render. Won't look as nice with the reflection, and so we'll just have to cut out a little chunks of the building, so it doesn't look like you walk through the door and then you run into a brick wall. Boom! Other than that, I think we're good for now until the client looks at it, changes the colors, asks for additional design things, maybe. Let's see. Okay, so this doesn't have to be as accurate as it was before, but what we want to do is cut out some chunks of these. So this one, we can just cut out a big chunk of each side of the building. For right now, it doesn't have to be super perfect, just so that it doesn't show through in the rendering. Just delete these inside walls there. That's better. Now for the building part, we're going to do the same thing as we did earlier, just make some boxes and intersect faces. So just draw a box. And get my tool set here. Push pull. And right click, make it a group. Pull it through. And make sure it's close to the same size as the towers are, so that it's cutting out the proper amount of the wall. And then just move, hold down Control, copy a few boxes around, and do that same intersect. View, component edit, hide rest of model. And we want to be careful, we don't want to explode all these windows, so just select just the walls and these boxes in these four little areas, then right click, explode, then select it again, these four little areas, nothing else, right click, intersect faces with selection. Oh, something happened. What was that error message? I didn't read it. That's weird. Oh, because I have to select this outer face. I was only selecting the inner faces and it wasn't working. I've got to select the edges of the boxes. But not this window. It's very important. The windows are good the way they are. Okay, this should work now. Right click, intersect faces with selection. I should be able to select and delete these four areas. Ooh, didn't want that to happen. It's weird. I'm not sure why those lines didn't create themselves. Let's strange. Huh. These whole sides aren't wanting to work with the intersect. I'll just try doing one at a time. Somehow I deselected, I don't know what happened. Okay, let's try deleting that. Okay, looks good. No, we're good. Okay.